And they can have my things when we're dead. But we gonna live forever. We gonna live forever.
Yeah. So, when you know how you were supposed to come out a couple nights on the weekend and then pulled out?
Yeah.
Pulled out like his dad should have?
Yeah. Well, Saturday we were going to, but the fucking rain or whatever, it was really hard to get an Uber. That was like...
It's always something with you two. But
No, Friday. What happened on Friday?
I don't know.
Oh, Friday when we went out for dinner and then we got home and then we were just like, I don't know. It
You
was
just
late.
canceled plans both nights.
I know.
That's all I remember.
Well, Saturday I wanted to, but it was literally we couldn't get an Uber. Like it was fucking because the stupid hurricane bullshit that never materialized.
Well, then you sent me a message at like 2:45.
I know,
You're
well,
like,
'cause
we still kicking. It's like, get the fuck.
Oh,
outta
honestly,
here.
because Heather kept being like back and forth. She was like, and then I was like, she's like, message Ryan to see what he's doing. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we were out the entire time.
I know that.
Every 45 minutes, I'm getting a message being like, so what's going on? I'm like, still here, a bunch of people.
I'm aware.
So we do this. Yeah, you need to get your. There was.
I'm aware.
There was a. There was like the funny part was, so what happened was I was at Brooklyn Comedy Club. I went to do that guy Dylan from Gas Digital had a show, and then we all went there and there was a party after. But between the party the party was pretty it was funny because it was like there was a bunch of people like, you know, me, Corinne, and people our age or whatever, right? Like you know, I was there with Colin Tyrell and Chris from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But those guys were fucking a lot of the younger people, and they're like playing flip cup and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And at
Like-
one point I was playing flip cup and I was like, I'm 36. I'm just, you know.
Those days are.
I don't know if I'm
I mean, props to you though for having that recognition, because a lot of people would just be like, "Gotta get the glory days."
No. I was the opposite. I was like, because it was like, we need a fourth, and I go, okay, one game.
That was like, dude, when I was in
The
Miami.
pressure was on. You got some 22-year-old being like, come on, man, we need this.
Dude, when I was in Miami, I was literally like going to those parties during like last year during the COVID, and I was like hanging out with all these kids who were in college basically.
Yeah.
And they'd be doing, and I was like, I'll
Okay, no deal.
just be the weird old
But
guy.
Chris from Brooklyn got in a fight with this bouncer at over COVID stuff.
Where?
So we go to some random bar, and it's like, so we walk in, and the bouncer was like, "Hey, you need to have vaccination cards or whatever, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And then, which hasn't even actually formally started in New York, right? This is maybe the second time.
No, I think it started, but it's not.
Enforceable or something.
It's going to be enforced on September 13th.
Right. So, and then Chris from Brooklyn, who by the way is vaccinated, he just like
He was the guy who was wearing masks when everybody was like not wearing masks.
he was
still
a
like,
little.
yeah.
I think for him it's all his chick.
Right, yeah.
He's like,
But like he's not like some like anti this shit. He's like, you know.
well, he's one of those guys that like I think is a little bit of like, yeah, I could not get vaccinated, or I could not fight with my fucking girlfriend whose family is, you know, whatever.
Right, yeah.
He's just like, this isn't my fight. I'm gonna be picking. So, but yeah, the mask is a little much.
Yeah.
We were on party and he's wearing, but it's everyone was doing that. We would literally have parties, and all the people that were safe would show up with a mask. Within an hour, they didn't have it on. It's like all of it was for show.
Yeah, of course, I know.
No one ever, like, he would have the mask on, then it would be like below his mouth within like 2 hours. You go, so what? So all that happened is you had an uncomfortable first 2 hours of this hangout.
Yes.
And
You were able to let us know that you're a mask guy,
And nothing, yeah, all that happened is you were a dork.
basically.
So, but what happened was, this big black bouncer, right? Mm-hmm. He comes up and he's like, and he goes, "Oh, I have it on my phone." He goes, "No, it can't be on the phone. It's got to be the real thing."
Oh, really? There's places that are doing that?
And it's a little dumbass bar. No one's in it. It's empty. So Chris.
I mean, what? So you just have to carry. What happens if it rains? How many people are just going to lose their Vax cards because it's fucking they get caught in the rain or something? Like,
So it becomes a whole fucking debacle. This guy starts, and Chris from Brooklyn's like, you know, a tough dude. So he starts being like, "You're a bitch." And the guy goes, "You ever fucking come around this bar?" And he blah, blah. And Chris was, "Oh, you want to do something about it?" He's getting in the guy's face, calling him like a fucking,
Damn.
he's calling him like a shill and stuff like that. Blah, blah, blah. And then some other
Shill.
bouncer from the bar beside comes through. And then he kind of comes up to help out Chris. And then he was like, or to help out the other bouncer. And then Chris goes, "What the fuck are you going to do? Go back to your bar. Go back to your bar." And then the guy was like jacked, goes back to his bar. Dude, he just looks so crazy, right?
Yeah.
That people were like afraid of him.
Well, New York, the thing is, there's just so many crazy people here too. They've probably seen the most like unsuspecting guys do the craziest shit. So that guy's probably like, yeah.
He looks like the type
not
of
my
guy that
fight.
will fucking pull some shit on you, right?
Yeah,
Old
slash
school
your
New York
slash your
guy.
face, you know?
He just looks dangerous. But this guy was huge black guy, and he started being like, he started doing the thing. Chris knows all his moves too. The guy's like, "Yo, you're lucky I don't want to fucking go to prison right now." And Chris is like, "Oh, you don't want to go to prison?" Yeah, no one's ever said that before. Oh, that's the luckily, yeah, you're good. You don't want to fight because you don't want to go to prison. Very convenient. Chris was saying like, he's like, I've heard like that's what pussies say.
Yeah, the pussy playbook.
Yeah, that's what so he knew all his like lines he was
That's
saying.
so funny.
And they're all yelling at each other. It was funny. And then I can't remember who it was. Like
It'd be funny after all that. Chris is like, "So you gonna let me in or not?"
there was some chick that was there. I think that she was like a comic or something. And she was kind of like, "Well, was Chris like right for?" And I was just like, "Hey, I'm not one of those guys that asks if my friends are right.
Yeah.
I don't care if he was right
Yeah.
or not." Maybe
yes.
I wouldn't get in a fist fight with a bouncer, but if
No.
I'm the last. Like you
Over improper
I
vaccine
might-
identification.
I think you're more of a guy that asks if your friends are right. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like you're a little more like fair about like if someone.
I mean, it's something like that. I would be like, assuming it's
You would
alcohol involved. If it was like if he fucking went and like sucker punched the bouncer,
Yeah.
I might be like, someone's like, "Is he right?" And yeah, maybe. Do
you know what I mean?
Something that was like serious.
I'm more ride or die.
Yeah, I mean, if he went and murdered somebody, I wouldn't be like, "Ride or die."
I'm ride or
It's like he
die.
ran over a bunch of kids in a fucking stolen car. Ride or die, dog.
I'm way more ride or die. I go, listen, I'm sure he had his reasons.
Yeah, he had his reasons.
I-
Yeah, I'm sure he had his
I
reasons.
enable and I support.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I enable, but once it's like in process or done, then I'm on that side, whatever it is, what it is. But it was just pretty fucking wild. But on the topic of COVID, so I don't think we need to play the video because everyone's seen it. But have you seen the Australia video? So in the video, they go, "There's bad people out there," and then they go.
It's really like people talking about shit that's like dystopian.
So, yeah, the video is a guy that had COVID that left his house, and they show him in the elevator, and this lady's saying, like, "Honestly, I can't believe what I'm seeing right now. This guy's on the run. The police are hunting for him currently."
Yeah, they're like a video is like tracking every move. It's like, he moves from one building or whatever, and they're like, "Here's the new camera on him."
And it's very embarrassing because they show him in the elevator and he's fixing his hair.
Yeah, and he's got a
the
bad
elevator.
hairline too.
And then they cut to like the police chief and they go, "People like this are the worst of the worst." It goes Hitler, then him.
Basically.
It's so nuts.
And the thing is, they made him look like, I forget what the word they used, but like they said he was like ill or something, or like, and he probably was fine. He's like, "I feel fine." I know he's probably walking around with COVID, but you're like they made him like, he was fucking escaped from the hospital with all the stuff hooked up to him. And like, he's just like, "Yeah, I'm in my apartment. I'm going for a walk."
He went for like a walk or to get food or something, and that's what it was. And they're saying that I get a lot of messages from Australians that follow the podcast since I've been talking about this shit, being like, "This fucking, you don't even know." And then the one article says if they're gonna get a ticket, they better have a very reasonable excuse. Like you can fight it if you have like the best excuse in the world, but we're saying like it's funny though. Only a good excuse is like pussy.
All right, mate.
If you have a good reason,
I was actually,
there's a piece of pussy on the side of town.
how I was talking about that basketball player earlier, Andrew Bogut. He used to play for the Golden State Warriors, former #1 overall draft pick. He's an Australian guy. He posted a video because he's all anti this and he's in Australia right now. And he posted this video, actually went kind of viral, where he said the Australian government reached out to like him and all these like Australian influencers to literally pay them to make pro lockdown posts.
Fuck that.
Yeah, and he goes, this was like a big thing. This is like a couple of days ago. If you look at Andrew Bogut, and he said he's like, I was in like the Australian government contacted me, and I know in other like prominent social media Australians to basically come out pro lockdown and be like, lockdown's great. I love lockdown.
Dude, lockdown rules.
Lockdown.
Lockdown rules, going out drools. What
Isn't that crazy though?
dorks.
But like then you know there's all these Australian people who are just like, ain't lockdown great? I'm sorry for my accent.
Well, that's like the totalitarian fucking government. He's the worst of the worst. And I was I was saying this before, or I was thinking about this because I've been an early adapter for hating Australians.
Mm-hmm.
But there's actually a lot of decent Australian dudes, and I've met more as I've gone. But the reason I think I had such a stench in my mouth for Australians, which I've realized over the last little while, is that the only Australians I met were the traveler Australians.
Oh, you met them all in Whistler.
I
and
met
shit.
backpackers.
Yeah,
and
you
I
met
hate
all-
backpackers, period.
Don't get me started on backpackers.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you met them all in like Banff and shit. All the ones who like
they're
go
ski bums.
Ski bums. Yeah,
But I hate ski bums. Like,
Yeah, you just hate all ski bums.
and I don't hate all ski bums. It's like the problem. The best way I would describe a ski bums is they're all guy number 6 that thinks they're the man. Like they're just annoying.
Yeah.
And then because they're decently cool, like chicks will be like, that guy was so sick, and you're like, that guy fucking sucked.
Yeah, you're like him and all his friends are the exact same people.
Yeah, so I think I like it was almost like I felt like these ski bums, especially with their accent, if they don't have an accent, they can't pull it off as much. So you'd have your like just your average annoying backpack retard. And whereas a normal girls would be like, you know, ugh. But because he was like,
Yeah, you're like he lives in
foreign-
his van, but because he has an accent, they're like,
because he's
he lives in his
foreign.
van.
Yeah, it's like they pull the wool over their eyes.
Yeah.
Where it's like you'd be like, no, that guy wasn't
They
funny.
romanticize the whole thing.
He gets a little romanticized.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do it the other way around. I know some Australian backpacker chicks, and I used to sleep with one.
Nice. Sick.
Kind of hot. She's kind of hot, but like
Sick.
she was legitimately unbearable.
Yeah.
They were the worst.
And now they're stuck on that fucking island with each other.
So
They can't
when,
get
yeah,
off.
when you talk about like when you talk about like ski bum, backpacker types, all that stuff, it all kind of is that thing where I go, it's the fact that like people didn't see that they're 6 out of 10 humans that used to bug me.
Yeah, there's a lot of veneer.
Because of their accent, and they look fairly cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and even then you go, those guys, you're like, they're probably fine. I could have fun with those guys. It's like, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, they're so like, a lot of them are like such surface level human beings with nothing to them.
It's no redeeming qualities.
No redeeming qualities.
Other than being.
and then you'd have, because they have an
Australia.
accent and they're decent looking, you'd have people being like, that guy was sick. And
yeah,
you're
he's
like,
the coolest guy. And you're like,
he jumped off the balcony in the pool. I agree. That was kind of sick, but
Yeah,
I
that-
promise you this guy sucks.
yeah, the gainer off the roof into the pool, pretty sick.
But since then, I've met a lot of Australians that are like comics or fucking. Because if you live in Europe, if you probably think Canadians are all backpack dorks.
Probably, yeah, for sure.
'Cause that's who travels.
Yeah. And
If you
Australia.
meet someone in a hostel, it's like that is not the cream of the crop.
At the hostel, no. No. The weirdest are the old people in hostels.
It's a
Because it's like a real
strange
party,
move.
and then you just get some guy there by himself.
It's a
and you're like,
strange thing to be like a hostel guy when you're 50.
yeah.
I feel like you missed it.
Yeah, I think so. But anyways, good luck to Australia.
Yeah, good luck to
They're-
Australia.
The crazy thing to think is all the people who escaped Australia for Canada, and then they're like, man, we're so lucky to be in Canada right now, seeing what's happening in
God.
Australia.
Imagine being like pumped that you're in Canada.
I know,
right
that's
now.
how bad it is, where you're like, holy, we really fucking dodged a bullet there being in Canada.
Yeah, they've got maybe the craziest shit going on in the world in Australia. It might be the craziest one like in the world. Is it crazier? Is there any Asian countries that are like locking down harder than that?
I don't, not to that degree. New Zealand is actually probably worse because New Zealand legitimately got one new case. They had one. New Zealand has a policy of like the zeroism with COVID. They got
dumb as shit.
They got and they were at zero. They had one new case of someone who went to Sydney, came back, and somehow had it, and then it got up to like. And for one case, they locked everything down, and now it's starting to spread. Like it's getting away from them a bit, and by getting away from them,
bunch of losers.
Getting away from them is they have 140 cases in the whole country. Small country, obviously, but
It's a country full of losers.
they're locked the fuck down. I'm trying.
Don't get me started on New Zealand backpackers.
I mean, I think they're unique in the sense that like, there's a lot of island places that they're not doing this, other than New Zealand and Australia, that are going fucking ham like this.
Well, there was an article, and this can kind of transition into the fucking the Taliban stuff that I had a few points, but like some of the articles are so funny. Daily Mail: the Taliban vows to tackle climate change. But they go. But the problem was that they're doing a lot of civilian executions in this time.
You go, look, so we got to give them a lot of credit for using more environmentally friendly stones when they're
Dude, have
stoning
you seen
people
a
to
video
death.
of someone getting stoned ever?
I have, yes.
It is
I've seen
tough
like
to watch.
I've seen like the setup. I haven't watched it, but yeah, it's like they bury you up until your shoulder.
It's insane. Imagine getting hit with have you ever been hit with a rock like in the head or something?
Yeah.
Do you know how wild that is?
Yeah.
To get hit with like a
hit with
rock
a-
in the face?
Not only that, you know how wild it is where you're like out doing your fucking errands and then there's this pile of rocks and this person buried just in this like random thing you're walking by, and you're encouraged culturally to just grab a rock and chip in.
That must be the most painful shit ever.
But like, imagine
That's literal torture way to go.
you go, how is groceries? You go, honestly, not that bad. There are a couple of lines, but at least on the way there, someone was getting stoned. So I tossed a couple stones, let some steam off.
Tossed a couple with the boys.
Tossed a couple. Yeah, we're gonna fucking go down there, just toss a couple stones.
Then
with
a
the
girl
boys.
tries to get on the stoning, and then they have to stone her for trying to participate.
You stoned like a girl.
Insane.
No, it's,
But there's been such so I wanted to like talk about this a little bit because I felt like this is one of those ones where it's like so nuanced and there's so many people with such different opinions. And it is funny, like even a lot of people disagreeing in like the comments of this podcast and stuff like that. And one of the things that is funny is how fucking much it's just everyone loves to argue, and especially right now. But there was like I posted a video of this podcast, and then the guy who does my clips, Tony, he sent me one with music and one without music or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I posted, I think, the wrong one. So I just realized it within like 2 minutes and took it down and then reposted it. And someone sent a message, sent like 4 comments being like, oh, you're deleting comments now. Like, oh, that's what
here
it
we
is.
go, yeah.
Oh, you think it's okay to delete comments. That's what you think, like, would just, and they go unfollowed, just like a real, like, want a big
course.
delete. And you're just like, first of all, I don't really delete comments, but like, imagine every day someone commented on my fucking thing, you're a racist, you're a sexist, and I deleted, and I've like blocked and deleted them, not like, oh, what are you, a pussy? It's like,
I mean, this guy is the equivalent of literally the writers at Vox. So they go, what am I going to get fucking pissed off about today?
yeah.
Got to find something. You go, oh, there's it's like with the Rogan, you know, where they'll have like some tech issue in like a podcast, which like happens. Like, oh, we had some tech issue. And then everybody's like, what didn't they want us to hear?
Yeah,
What the
but it's one
fuck are they
thing like
keeping from us?
on my page, like if you're fucking, yeah, I agree people discuss, but you go, if someone was, if you literally were like a singer and someone had a harassment campaign against you, I could see them being like, yeah, let's just like delete those comments. Anyways, I don't really delete comments, but I get
You know who
accused
does-
of it all the time.
You know who
because-
deleted a lot of comments?
Who?
Chad.
Chad who?
The show Chad.
Oh yeah.
Remember we were sharing that? I guess they canceled it, but we should watch some episodes of Chad. But they would, the comments, they would post them. And then, you know, because you know how there's the thing with sponsored posts or whatever, where it'll be like 80 comments and then you go look at it and there's 4. Like it
Oh.
says like 80 and then there's 4 and then people are like, you can't fucking delete these as fast as we're writing them.
No way.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, it was a show that they spent $10 million on. It was the biggest piece of shit on earth. And then every fucking time they probably ad budget was insane. And every comment was like, this is the worst piece of shit.
Yeah, well, even people that like you are getting ramped up to hate you because I swear YouTube like deletes comments based on like keywords and stuff, right? So they don't even, it's not even that they delete it. They just put it in limbo because I have
What you have to confirm them or something?
something like that. So I didn't even know this, but there's a part of YouTube, if you click on the comment section, they have comments that they say, oh, we've removed this for spam. And the truth is 80% of them are spam.
Yeah,
like,
it's like 4x.
come check out my video or whatever. But there's the odd thing. It'll be like something about the Jews or something or whatever the fuck it is. But I don't even look at that. So people write a comment and then they go back and it's not there. And then they go, you delete it. And it's like, fuck you.
Oh, guess you're one of them, huh?
Yeah. People are so ready to get mad. But there was such wild stuff with. So there is. The gist was that a lot of people were saying, and I think it's funny, is whenever, like, I feel like I disagree with something that people think, and people will go, oh, what you don't understand is this. And it's like, no, like, I understand that. There's like a lot of different opinions. Like everyone just thinks you're dumb. You know what I mean? Like, okay. So for example, they'll be like, you don't know that everyone says that no one's saying that the war should continue. What they're saying is that it was handled bad.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, people say that comments and it's like, it's one of the reasons it's funny is it's like the irony because people say that.
I mean, but there's this assumption from that comment where you go, so what, you think there was like a perfect way to have done this? Like,
sure, but I'm even saying from an arguing standpoint first, I'm just like, you think I haven't heard that? It's like, yeah, that you're right. That's the argument. Some people say this, then people say, well, actually, we're just saying it was done wrong. And then the other, I understand like all the classic like cases of this argument, but, and I think what I'm saying is, and that's, I'm having trouble like saying this specifically, and that's why this is complicated, but even your instinct is to be like, well, it couldn't have been perfect what you just said, right? That's what that argument is. And then now you're arguing about whether the execution of moving was good, right?
yeah.
And
You've kind of moved on to something else.
and my point is not that it was a perfect execution, because I actually agree that it was probably pretty sloppy.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of like, yeah, that's the argument that they'd like you in. I'm just like, look past that, and you're just like, one, you should be arguing, like the conversation should be more about the fact that this should not have been happening for 20 years.
Fuck no. Yeah. Like, it's like, do you want to be, especially if you're an American, there's one thing for other people who are like not Americans to be like, well, they started this mess. But if you're American, you should be like, yeah, we should not be there.
And it's hard to,
Should we be there or should we not be there? That's
right. And so when you look at people arguing, but the interesting points aren't that. There's nothing interesting about that. It's like, yes, people are to some degree going to, there's a lot to nitpick of how this evacuation, and it is a mess, and there's lots of problems. But more importantly than that, the first part is like when people say that to you, they go, you just don't get it. It's like, I'm not that stupid that but
yeah, you're like, I didn't have this is the first I'm hearing of
yeah,
this
exactly.
surface level
The
argument.
part to look at is go, think about this. If they've been in war for 20 years or whatever, right? And no one had a problem with that, really, especially at CNN, Fox News. Like there was very little, really the only kind of get out of war stuff was kind of coming from like people like Trump, really.
Yeah.
So there was almost mainstream consensus that this was fine.
Yeah.
At the very least, it wasn't much of a point for people. Maybe the odd person here and there, right? Especially on like CNN and places like that. Now, for the first time, there's almost like the only time there was a consensus where CNN kind of has gone against Biden, and the only time there's a consensus on this war was when they want to stop it. That to me is like interesting, whether you think is good or bad or not. The interesting part is, for the first time, most people kind of agree.
Yeah, we should just be doing war.
That's the only time they disagree. And so
Yeah, and they that is true. Like you go.
the
and
only
you watch
time the
them-
media's ever had a problem with Biden is because he's, and then you go, well, they have a problem with how he stopped it or whatever. And it's like, it's very easy for them, people to optically, people aren't going to obviously commit to that position. Of course, they're going to make it. No, I'm just saying this. It's like, and then people go, no one's singing for war. It's like, okay, you're right. Dick Cheney doesn't want more war. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, of course.
Literal, like Dick Cheney's on the mix now. Fucking Bush's advisors. You're right.
Yeah,
they just go, we just think they should have done better. It's like, what do you think that means?
Yeah, I guarantee you, Dick Cheney sold a lot of stocks in a lot of companies like the day before they announced that fucking pullout. Like all his stocks related to any of that shit are just like sold.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing where it's like, those, be like, when they say no one on the right's like into canceling people, and it's like, okay, you win. No one on the right's canceling. No one's into war. It's like Dick Cheney just wanted another few months and a better execution. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Like the extra 3 months was going to be all the difference.
Yeah.
Just give us 3 more months.
Well, this is what people say. They go, no one wanted this. And it was like, yes, they do. But also, I understand you're saying that people are like, well, people like me are just criticizing Biden's execution. And that's fine to do, to say that this could have been done better. But my point is, from all of this, is that's so surface level, and not to, maybe that sounds like condescending, or that I think I'm too smart than I am, but to me, it's like when the idea of like when everyone's saying something, it doesn't need to be said. But then there's this idea of like, so what the fuck is happening? That's like the real, and when you look at this, the Biden thing, I am more like skeptical of what's happening in the sense that, like, I'm almost like the conspiratorial angle to me is really, so they're doing this thing. Everyone in the media, everyone is like on board. This is a disaster.
Yeah.
All of the articles are rolling in about how the Taliban's going to do all this bad stuff to women. And then all the articles on Fox News and CNN, they're all rolling in about how much of a disaster this is. Biden's sort of like taking the fall. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen.
I think they're just going to leave. There'll be a new news cycle. They're going to leave.
But you don't think this is like, there's a chance that it's like setting up to fucking,
they're not going to
see, we got to be back in there.
Well, today there was fucking a big like shoot. Well, I was saying to you earlier, like today there was like a big, it's Thursday, so I guess people listen to this Friday. So, but there was like a big shootout at the airport, and like I think a bunch of Marines were killed. So by the Taliban. So there's a very real possibility they go, all right, well, we tried leaving and we're back on. But they have, the thing is you just have to potentially say like we're going to lose this many American casualties by going there versus essentially ripping off the Band-Aid, being like getting out and just be like, all right, we're out and that's it. That's the end of that, and we're never doing that again.
That's the decision.
But then there's like, there's if you keep poking them, like again, the U.S. could fucking bomb. Oh, I was saying this in our group chat. I went to go get my teeth, like to the dentist or whatever, and the hygienist, she was like cleaning my teeth all in my mouth, and she's like this Filipino woman, and she was watching the news was on in Afghan, and she goes, why don't they just bomb them all? She's just bombed them all. She goes, they're live. She's like, they're better off dead. I'm like, whoa, I can't even talk.
Shit.
Like, I was like, holy shit, I can't even talk. Like, and I'm like, She's like, yeah, what they should. I'm like, you're from somewhere. Like, you're from the Philippines. You obviously left to America because, like, it was better here than there. And you're like, there's no part of you that's like at least a little, like, Philippines is not super like volatile, but still, you're like, there's no part of you like just bomb them. Like they're all better off dead.
That's wild.
During my first like dental hygienist visit, it was fucking weird.
Yeah, honestly, like it is but like it just seems very whenever you see all the media agreeing, it's almost suspicious.
Oh, that's yeah. That's the point where Soros is like with his fingers, Mr. Burns style, being yeah.
Especially when both,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess there could be,
but I guess
there's a chance that it's also just like it objectively was a bad thing, and it was
It
so
was.
objectively a
I
bad
mean,
thing that everybody's like, there's nobody can find.
They did do it. I mean, you have fucking
Yeah.
troops stuck there. Like, there's no
All these
question.
people
Like,
stuck
they
there
fucking
and
did a bad job of
shootouts
it.
and
But it's like, then, okay, so now what? At the very least.
I don't know. I think they're, you know, I don't know. That kind of thing's hard. I think the best thing is for them to just get the fuck out of there and just stop trying to, like, you know.
Well, they're trying to do that, and they're not doing a good job.
No, they're doing an absolute shit job. But you're like, look, they don't want fucking Western ideals in Afghanistan.
Well, but it's the nation building component where they go, hey, we're going to go we're going to go build a nation. It's like, well, it turns out this isn't a fucking 20-year failed experiment.
Yeah, and
I mean, that's the
and
stuff
zero
we said
people
last
want
week, but
zero people there want it. Like nobody wants it.
That's the stuff we said last week. But just a couple of funnier things is the Taliban climate change is pretty funny. Occupy Democrats, do you know who they are? Like that big it's like a big, huge Twitter account, Occupy Dem, but it's so funny, the tweets that they post. This one's just like making me laugh. It goes, breaking news. The Pentagon announces that it believes that ISIS carried out today's explosive attack near Kabul. Trump claimed that he's defeated ISIS over a dozen times. Retweet if you think Trump's a lying idiot.
There's a lot of people who see it.
All cap.
A lot of people like the fucking like who hate the MAGA people who goes, don't mind if I do. Pulls out the old fucking Twitter, goes, yeah.
Yeah, don't mind if I do retweet that.
Trump's an idiot. Thank
A
you.
lying idiot.
Yes, please.
Retweet if you think he's a lying idiot. I think he's a lying idiot.
How many retweets do you think you could get right now if you just go retweet this if you think Trump's a lying idiot, and then do one where it goes retweet this if you think
Biden's a lying idiot,
and then see how many. Who do you think wins?
See who gets more retweets. I think right now Biden's gonna get a lot of lying idiot retweets. People aren't hot on him at the moment.
No, they're not.
I think. Well, I don't know. I don't have my theory together, but one is they're trying to get back into war. Two is they wanted to do this and Biden's taking the fall so Kamala could take over pretty soon.
Yeah,
those are my two working.
Well,
theories.
that's the one. I mean, a lot of this stuff too. There's so much like I told you so stuff where you say it now and everybody's like no, and then like Kamala she's not going to be the president. He's going to serve his whole term, blah blah blah. And then if it happens, you'll be like, see, and they're like, you could just be like, see, I told you so, but you don't get any credit for calling it 2 years ago, and then it happens now, and they're like, well, tough shit because she's the president now.
You get credit with your
maybe with some
squad.
people, yeah, I guess you go, see, I called it, and they're like, yeah, well, she's the president. Now.
I think you get credit for your predictions coming true with.
Sometimes, I mean, if you're really spot on, but again, that's a prediction so many people are making.
I'll tell you what, you don't get it with girls. I feel like guys give the credit more, but I'll say shit like that. Even in movies with the chick, I'll literally be like, oh, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen. Then I'll be like, huh, and she'll be like, okay,
yeah,
and I go, you didn't just see me predict like a million things,
or like, well, I maybe not with you so much, but like my girl, because she's late all the time. I'll be like, yo, like you need to fucking hurry up, like we're gonna be late for this. You need to get going. She goes, we're not gonna be late, and then like I make this huge, but then I make a huge like thing, be like, we're gonna be late, like blah blah blah, and she's like, we're not, and then because I make this huge stink about it. Then we're on time or not late, and then she goes, "See, we're on time." But then she goes, "See, we're on time." And you're like, "We're only on time because I had to do that."
That's a mess.
If I did nothing, then we're late.
That stinks,
right? And there's no real winning because she's like, "Well, see, we're on time. You were just overreacting." But I'm like, "But if I didn't say anything, then we weren't on time." It's an unwinnable situation.
That's unwinnable. I was watching this fucking. When I was watching that Cecil documentary. Or no, sorry, it wasn't. It was a flat earth thing. I watched the documentary on flat earthers, and the main guy came out, and within the first 2 minutes of hearing this guy talk, I go, I bet you there's a bunch of other flat earthers that say this guy, he's not the real deal. Like,
of course,
you know what I mean?
course. Yeah.
That's why I was talking about, I go,
actually,
you could just tell this guy's too like positive. I go, I bet you all the other flat earthers. And then she goes, what do you mean by that? I go, I bet you that there's like some other people that like this flat earth version is like bad or whatever, right? And then she was like, why would they think, okay, I mean, whatever. Within like 4 minutes, they presented the other guy that's like, I started flat earth, this guy's taking it over. And that was the central plot line essentially.
Yeah.
And I go, well, do you know what I mean? And she goes, that's not what you said.
Yeah, exactly.
I go, what?
It is funny you say that too, because I was a friend that we have, basically I was having a drink with him and he's like started telling me he was a flat earther, and then I told him about this documentary, and then I was like, "Did you watch it?" And he said that exact same thing. He goes, "Yeah, that's not really the guy, though."
I knew that they were going to say
Yeah.
that's not the guy.
Yeah.
You could tell this guy wasn't the guy. He was too busy like selling mugs and all that
And
sort
the
of stuff.
tables, those tables are pretty slick. The flat Earth tables, I'm like, that's a slick looking.
This guy
table.
just like loves being part of something.
Yeah.
The main guy, but the other guy is like a lunatic. Yeah. They didn't really talk enough about. See, I always like. I hate the like smug people that are just they just like, can you believe this guy thinks this? But and then you're like, well, can you explain why you think what you think? And they go, well, no, but smart people like scientists.
Yeah.
Sorry, I trust science. And it's like you don't get to be smug for something that you also don't know.
I mean, I can't explain exactly
Not just
how
about flat
gravity works, but if someone says there's no such thing as gravity, I'm probably gonna be pretty smug about the fact that gravity exists.
Well, then you're a part of the.
I guess.
But my
like, there's
natural-
something. I'm not talking about something that's like, I'm not like,
Yeah, you're an elitist.
like fucking COVID, like some mRNA versus whatever vaccines, and I'll be like, oh, excuse me, but Fauci said. But it's like, there's certain things where I go,
No, but you don't think it is a little, even in that example where it's like someone goes, oh, you ever heard of a little something called gravity? And then you go, okay, what's gravity? And they're like, it's, it's like a thing. And then you go,
Well-
well, you were pretty fucking smug about it 2 seconds ago.
yeah, that would be me. No, I wouldn't be smug. That's the thing. I would never be smug about it, really. Like, but maybe in my mind, but I would be like, I'm not debate. Like, I just wouldn't get
obviously
it.
know what you mean.
I wouldn't get it
And there's
into-
things, but there's just something about certain people that it's like people that I think it's a thing they call midwits or whatever. They're like, they're not even smart,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just like, oh my, you think that?
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, you're stupid.
Yeah. I mean, generally the most vocal, a lot of times, very vocal people are.
Yeah, so that's one of my like pet peeves, that kind of like attitude or whatever. So whenever in the flat earth thing, I'm always like the skeptics, which they picked some ones that were actually pretty reasonable. I thought this doc was fairly well done. And the skeptical guys, for the most part, their point was a little bit like, we can't just like ignore these people and treat them like they're fucking idiots. It just makes them more like,
I mean, whatever. It's like it's like I treat it as like a weird It's like you're like a cosplayer essentially.
it is a little bit. in
Like
that
they're not trying to like
territory.
infiltrate NASA. It's not like we're having this debate about, oh, should we let flat earthers into NASA so that then like that'll like frame how they like go after.
They had an
some-
engineer. That was their top. That was their
My
top
favorite
guy.
one with the flat earth thing is you go, okay, so I go, so like every time I've been on an airplane, for example, like I've flown from Vancouver to China, which is impossible for the flat earth thing. You got to go west to east, right? Because it's bounded. So you have to go from this side to this side. You can't go around, right? And so I go, so like, how do you explain that? Is it just like everybody's conspiring to make me think I've done that?
They didn't honestly. They talked a bit about it.
Like, when you look at the fucking...
Well, they were saying there isn't a lot of direct flights for these areas and stuff like that. But I guess they just think the plane system.
But like
is
no,
going
but so it's
differently.
like the pilot's in on it because obviously the pilot goes. You're in Vancouver.
I don't
and they
think
go,
they think pilots are.
but they have to be because the pilot's got to be like, all right, everybody. So we got a 9-hour flight. We're gonna be flying west at 32,000 feet. Blah, blah blah. But then the pilot's flying east. Your little like map on your screen that shows you going west over the Pacific Ocean is just a lie. It's just like a graphic essentially and you're going east this whole time, but it's telling you you're going west, but you're showing you're going west. The pilot's saying you're going west. The airline is like, yeah, we're just going from Vancouver to Beijing.
That was the problem. One of the things I only watched this because I wanted to know more about like why they think this and what, but it was way more about like the community and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's like the QAnon thing. It was all these things popped up where like even after QAnon's over now, and they're like people just like are still in it because they just like found this community and they just
Yeah, whereas I would have way rather had to know because it was like this guy, he did become a main guy in the movement, but it was like he just was into all the conspiracies. And then this one he said like was his favorite.
I think he's a pro-vax guy or anti.
Oh no, they're very into Novax.
No, but yeah.
Like all of the main ones. Like they get into all of them.
I was kidding. I can't see
yeah,
a lot of
obviously,
flat
but
earthers being.
This
fucking-
is the only guy that is the main guy. He's like really. He at one point they have a flat Earth sign, and he looks up and he goes, "I love flat Earth." Like he just loves.
He loves. Yeah, he just love. Yeah, it's like being Italian.
Yeah.
You know, like we have like Monty has our buddy Monty is like Italian. He's like they just love. He's like, man, I just love being Italian. Isn't being Italian the best?
Yeah, he really likes it.
Yeah.
So he's just like the nicest guy that like runs this community, and whereas everyone else,
Which is
kind
like
of-
that. I'm honestly fine with. It's like I don't know. Like why can you not be a flat earther but you could be like a fucking furry or something?
right.
Same shit.
Well, I guess the argument is, I would go one step further and be like, and why can't I question fucking anything else too? Like, how are they allowed?
Yeah.
It's like
I mean, you can
they
question.
literally
that.
want to have a bureau of truth. It's like these people want to have fucking like, if they want to have a bureau of truth, and they go, so are they allowed? Like, are those guys allowed to have YouTube channels? Can you question?
But
the Earth is
certainly
round?
you have to agree that there's someone in the world who is an authority on and can explain every reason why the earth is round and not flat. And if you got those,
So why are they-
you got any one of them in the room with the world's preeminent authority on this thing, they would just be like, you're a liar.
Okay, but this is the question, which is the issue. You are not allowed to question vaccine stuff, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Can I say to you?
I mean, you
Can I
are
say-
allowed to question it.
No, you're not. That's
do
how
you-
everyone gets their channels taken away.
Oh, you're talking about on YouTube.
yeah, on every platform.
Yeah. I mean, you could, dude, Twitter, there's no end on Twitter of.
And they
or
all get
Instagram-
deleted.
Or Instagram of people who are questioning stuff.
yes,
they
and
get-
if they're big enough, they get deleted.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can question that, but why can't I say? But I can say I actually think there's no stars in the sky, and you're not going to get taken away from that. You could do that till the cows come home.
Imagine
So it's like,
people start getting their channels zapped for like all I said is like I thought stars were fake.
well, why couldn't I say that? You know what I mean? I could say that like, oh, the NBA finals didn't happen.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, no, it did happen. Like, there's a million things you could just say that no one cares about. It's just the crazy
Well,
part
it's-
is that they pick 2 or 3 things. They're like,
It's because
we're
these
the
companies
fucking-
are run by fucking 5 people and they're
we're the Bureau of Truth on these 2 things.
on these things, yeah. And I mean they'll be I mean, they're not these 2 things. There was the fucking Russia stuff with the
Yeah,
elections.
the election.
Dude, the election and like literally they're like with the Russia thing, they go, yeah, that's
So-
post whatever lies you want about this stuff. We're fine with that. And then it was fully disproven. And there was no retraction, nothing. They go, we missed that one. But then, like, you know, Hunter Biden's laptop, and they go, we're literally deleting your page.
Exactly.
Like the New York Post, for straight up just like, yeah, we're limiting your page 2 weeks before an election.
Yeah. What about a fucking, you know, like condo board election? Can I fucking question that? It's like, yes. So it's like the fucking arbitrariness of like, we'll pick 3 things that you're not allowed to fucking question that's the problem. I don't
Do you have
know
any
if
predictions for what the future stuff is, or
what the future stuff?
of stuff we're not allowed to talk about, or is it stuff that'll just come up like the
Well, it'll
like,
straight up be like politicized stuff where they want you to really think something. Whatever the new propaganda is that they want the fucking sheeps to eat on the trough.
That's my favorite one with all the people, all the like the kind of people on Twitter with how the left's trying to push them into eating bugs. And they're like, we won't eat your bugs. I love that one so much. Where they keep coming up with something like in like you know like Nature Today, and it's like yeah, so crickets use way less greenhouse
are
gas.
pushing it.
Yeah, greenhouse gas emissions, and you know they can be made to be very tasty, and they're high in protein. Everybody's like, stop making us eat the bugs.
But they are trying to
I know
make you
they
eat
are.
bugs.
I know. But it's like there's such a line in the sand for people. They go, you're like, dude, I've been to fucking, you go to Southeast Asia, like they eat bugs, like they enjoy them.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I've eaten deep fried fucking
Yeah.
mealworm or something. Like, dude, I saw this fucking lady in, I think it was in Vietnam, who we were taking a bus and we pulled over on the bus for like this little like rest for people to use the bathroom. And there was a lady at this like dirt road bus station, middle of Vietnam, maybe Cambodia. She had this big like hat on. It looked like a sombrero, but it was actually like a plate that sits on top of her head. And it was covered in deep fried tarantulas, like huge, like this big, like literally the size of a softball, or probably like huge thing. And then people would come up to her, so she'd like take the thing off her head and like hold the plate, and people would like finger through to get like the choice tarantulas and like put them in their bag, and then they would just like eat these deep fried.
So fucking gross.
But again, the whole bugs thing, you're like so many people, they just like they eat bugs, they love them.
I guess maybe they think that about sushi or some shit, like, or whatever, shrimp.
I mean, the thing too,
Some people think shrimp's a bug.
People were
but
like,
I do feel like that a little bit about shrimp, where I'm like, this is a bug.
shrimp is a bug.
Yeah,
It's
so
a
I don't
water
really
bug.
like it. And that's why I don't really like eating shrimp. It does feel like I'm eating a bug.
Ryan at the sushi restaurant. I'm not gonna eat the bugs.
I want to eat the bug.
Will not eat the bug, dude. And fucking man, they eat. It's basically everywhere other than the West is they eat everything, and then the West we're very like, we're like, oh, we only eat some parts of the chicken. We throw a bunch of that out. Dude, my grandmother, you fucking get like a chicken neck or like a fish head in front of her.
Jamaican, the chicken foot soup would have had actually.
Dude,
gave me
in
once.
Vietnam, I remember stopping to get soup, and there was an entire chicken foot in there, and I'm like, I'm not eating. And again, I was like, I'm not eating the chicken foot. And people all around me are just like fucking eating, and they're looking at me like I'm insane
Yeah.
for not eating the chicken foot.
I'm definitely not eating the bugs. Have you seen how much the Larry Elder stuff is going on?
Yeah.
It's just like another.
Looks like he's in good shape.
What do you mean to win?
Like to win, yeah. Or like, because I guess the crazy thing is, once the recall is, it's like it's a weird system in California, and I believe you don't need a majority. It's just whoever gets more votes. So it's like you could get like 20% of the vote or something and be the governor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like a weird system. So
Well, I've seen Newsom giving his speeches and just like spewing out nonsense.
yeah, for sure.
But the Larry Elder stuff's so funny, and a lot of people have pointed this out. But black candidate, Republican, and every fucking article is like, he's a white supremacist.
Yeah, why Larry Elder has a white supremacy
And then
problem.
also, then on top of that, they've started finding like other things from his past. Like he had an old girlfriend that said he was like,
dismissive.
dismissive and shit like that. And it was just
Imagine that's what sinks his whole campaign.
dude, it's so 2021 that they're like, you need to vote for this white guy or you're a white supremacist. Legitimately, they're saying white guy and black guy. They go, if you better vote for this white guy,
Yeah.
or else you hate fucking black people.
Or you have internalized white supremacy.
If you vote for this black guy, you hate black people. But if you vote for the white person, you love black people.
Checks out.
And it was just like, do you guys hear yourselves? Ever?
All they look at is the clicks.
Do you ever hear yourselves?
That's yeah. They're like, they basically think that Larry Elder's like one from Get Out, essentially. Like he's been like someone else is in his body, but he's no longer in charge.
I was born in Compton, he said.
Larry Elder?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things when they were saying that shit to him, and he was like, I grew up in the fucking,
Yeah, like in Compton.
But I actually watched this fucking video on like I got really deep into like YouTubers getting deleted and like people's channels getting deleted. So that's probably one of the reasons I've been talking about this weekend. But it was like YouTube just will have these bugs where it'll delete channels with like 3 million fucking views or 3 million subscribers and stuff like that.
It just deletes the channel?
Yeah, it'll be because whatever is combing through things just gives it like 4 strikes or whatever. I think it was after watching this guy on the video getting deleted, the metal guy, because everyone said he's a murderer and he didn't do anything. And then all of his social media platforms got taken away.
And do any of these people recover them, or is that like?
Yeah, some do, some don't. Some of them do, but one guy just makes motorcycle videos, and he's like, 5 million subscribers or some shit like that. And he got his channel deleted, and then after like 3 months, he finally got it back, which whatever cost him whatever amount of money. And then they don't do anything or say sorry. It's just, okay, you're back now.
Yeah, it's probably
and it was all a mistake on their part.
It's probably all because like in one video from 2015, he had like a Trump sign on his lawn as he's fixing his motorcycle. Got him.
So they can, especially if you've done like 5 million videos, like finding an infraction is pretty easy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is pretty wacky stuff like that, though.
I wonder if that stuff is going to get better or worse. Like, because I could imagine YouTube doesn't want to be dinging motorcycle channels. Like, that's actually like a flaw of their AI system. I wonder if, I imagine it'll probably get better where that stuff happens less.
I don't know. I don't think it's ever going to stop happening because they're going to keep changing their things, and every time they change their things,
just something gets
the whole bunch of channels get
randomly-
deleted.
Yeah.
But you were saying that. Oh, by the way, there's like, I was looking at this thing. It was like a model, someone was like, "Hey, notice anything different about this?" So it's a girl modeling all her clothes or whatever, and then if you look, she has one leg. And all the models just like on this website, 1 in 4 models are just like a fake leg. It's just so funny,
Dude, the crazy thing is that, like, based on today's standards, I'm not quite there, but I'm not like crazy far off from like being a model. Like I saw a fucking dude, I saw a video, like a commercial the other day at the gym for like some beauty product, and like legitimately, like if you went in a time machine and you told these women, you go, you're gonna be a fucking like makeup model on TV 5 years ago, they would have been like eating fucking Wendy's and being like, what?
Yeah.
Model? And you're like, yeah, you're a fucking model now.
You are. They all look like you.
I've never been closer to being a model in my life than this minute.
So this is one article that I wanted to do. So actually wearing a mask can help your child learn. So it's
Learn how to be a sheep.
yeah, you should be putting on a sheep mask. It's the culmination of, is there any point where the New York Times will step away from being like a propaganda for whatever they're supposed to do? It's like,
No.
They almost have no shame with, what are we selling? They go, I remember when I was watching that old dictator documentary, one of the biggest things that they said was Stalin, the New York Times were over there like selling his propaganda. Like they would bring the New York Times journalists to like some sweet place and then butter them up and give them all the access. And then they'd go back and write these New York Times articles being like, Stalin's actually, if anything, what's the opposite of killing people? That's what he's doing.
Yeah, you go. You know, he kind of was a bit sheepish. I kind of wanted to go check out some stuff, and he was really adamant that I don't go see certain things. But from what I did see, he
doesn't ask questions like that. They bring him to the area, and he gets to go back and be the liaison to Russia.
Totally.
But it's like the New York Times has no shame where they go, okay, we know our narrative is masks are sick, right? Mm-hmm. We're well aware of that. Now,
there's nothing sicker.
So they just literally do mad gabs to figure out articles about, it's like, actually sex is better with a mask. Now they're saying, it's like, obviously, even if you're the biggest mask advocate, you go, it's probably not better.
Yeah, it's probably not better. So again, maybe it's better for children contracting COVID if that's your argument. But you're saying it's better for them being in school?
Better, period.
Yeah. It's essentially being like, hey, masks are really good if you don't have a good vertical and you're trying to dunk. Put a mask on.
It's actually better.
It's actually better. You'll jump
Keeps
higher.
Wind resistance.
Yeah, you'll jump way higher, and you go, okay.
They call that coping, I believe. But opponents of mask mandates for preschool and elementary school have expressed concern that wearing masks will impair children's ability to learn language. So these, there's bigots out there that might say that it's not good.
Hate bigots.
Children in cultures where caregivers and educators. But here's some evidence on the contrary. Children in cultures where caregivers and educators wear head coverings that obscure their mouths and noses develop skills just as children in other cultures do.
Did the Taliban write this? I know I asked that last week about the sex one, but I'm like, are the Taliban getting in the BuzzFeed game? Are they getting in the listicle game?
Yeah. Even
Talibans are like, yeah, fucking full body coverings are sick.
Dude, their arguments out of the start is like, oh, well, if it's not worse for the children, then why are children in places where every woman wears a face covering killing it?
Yeah, explain Saudi Arabia to me then.
And you go, I mean, obviously the explanation would be that, yeah, they think that that's worse. What's their argument? Like, as if you take like aptitude tests, like the kids in, some places where everyone has head coverings, there'd be no difference. Like, obviously, there's going to be differences everywhere in the world.
Do you think
but they didn't also follow this up by, and those children are just as good, just as good at what?
It's not really scientific.
What's the argument? They go, they're just saying that they were able to finish school? Look at
them. They finished.
Kids in the Taliban went to school.
Well, the guys did.
Told you exactly. They go. Told you they can go to school with a mask on.
Do you think if you wear a
I don't know what the argument is.
If you wear a burqa, do you think you have to wear the? First off, do you have to wear a mask?
On your over top of your burqa.
But do you have to wear a mask? Period. Like,
I
are you
think,
like I'm already wearing a mask? I've been wearing this thing for 40 years.
No, because they would never know if you had one under, so there's no way to tell. You just.
But I'm
say.
saying, does the burqa be like that's fine? We don't. Need
They
to wear
can't
a mask.
tell.
What do you mean they can't tell? I'm saying just the act of having the thing covering your face. Like, is that good in lieu of a mask?
Good enough for who?
For the Fauci of the Middle East.
To what? Get into the stores where you
I
need to have a
guess,
mask
or-
on?
yeah.
Well, then my point
I guess
is,
they would never know.
Where would you be
Or,
going?
but that's what I'm saying. So is masks on the outside of the burqa?
They,
Just because you can't trust them? You go, look, mask on the outside. So they're just like the mask on the outside.
sorry, you can't be trusted because you're a woman. That's why you got you into this situation.
Well, and then
if we could trust you, we wouldn't have to put that on.
yeah,
you.
if Eve wouldn't have eaten that goddamn apple,
Yeah, we wouldn't be in this.
you wouldn't have to
situation.
wear this mask on the outside of your deal.
They go blind children who cannot see faces at all still learn to speak. Because someone was saying it's probably bad
Mic
for
drop.
kids.
That's literally. Yeah, I don't know. I heard, last I checked, blind kids couldn't read.
Yeah, so they go, if it's so bad to wear a mask, explain blind kids. Here's like, honestly, I don't know what the things are, but you go, listen, if you were to say, is it better to have a mask or worse to have a mask? I'm sure it's a bit worse.
Yeah.
If their argument was it's even, you go, I don't really know the statistics. It would take 10 years to ever show if
I mean, there's
any
no
differences.
studies about because there's no.
Well, they have a study for
I guess
you
they-
of how fucking sick it is. Indeed, there's a good reason to believe that wearing a mask at school could actually improve certain social and cognitive skills. Indeed.
Oh yeah, because you're trying that much.
Indubitably.
You're trying because now you can only read the eyes, so you got to really like spend more time.
spend
doing
more
it.
time.
Like, what's the face doing right now?
You
'Cause I
become an
can't see-
expert at eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they go, helping to strengthen abilities like self-control and attention. So if you don't get to look around at the mouth, you don't have your mouth. So,
Yeah. Plus, you're exercising so much self control by keeping that mask on.
so I think, I'm not kidding you. They say that in the article. This is
Dude,
the
if I was
biggest
a fucking,
stretch
if
I've
I was
ever
like
heard.
in 12 right now, and they were like, yeah, you got to wear a mask, I'd be like, yeah, good luck with that.
School fuck. Oh, dude, I
Every-
didn't follow any rules. Every teacher would be telling me to put that back on every 2 seconds.
Oh, dude.
I'd be the guy getting kicked off the plane.
You are that guy right now. What are you talking about? Yeah, I might be that guy back then. Like, you're that guy.
This is not to say that masks are preferable to no masks. All things being equal. This is literally the title of the article. Masks are inconvenient and uncomfortable and bothersome. So they do agree that they're annoying. But they also, on the flip side, it makes you better at learning. But as long as they are needed, we should take advantage of the fact that they offer distinctive opportunities for learning and growth. Who is this article written by the masks?
Yeah, it's like Big Mask. This is literally brought to you by Big Mask.
Yeah. Take language learning. It's true that masks cover our mouths, and seeing mouth shape and movement contributes to language development in infants. But learning how to communicate involves more than just mouths, a reality that masks accentuate. It turns out that looking at eyes is at least as important to looking at mouths
Oh.
to understand whom you're looking at.
Eyes are getting some shine right now. Eyes are finally getting their day.
Yeah. It's like, this is the equivalent of a girl being like, why 2 black eyes from your husband can actually improve your work life. Like, yes, if your thing is like, you can, which I disagree with yours, but you're saying the silver lining, like, this is the gist of what they're selling. And even though their title is like, it's actually better. Anyone could say that, hey, I got shot and I was in a hospital for 6 months and I couldn't move. But you know what? I was drinking less during those months.
Yeah, look
I
on the
cut
bright
down on the
side.
drinking.
Yeah.
I wasn't partying as hard when I was in those areas. So it's actually positive. It's, I guess you can
Getting shot was the best thing that ever happened.
spend
to me.
less money.
Yeah.
I was actually spending less money when I was in that situation. So, in fact, children have a stronger capacity to discern people's thoughts and emotions based on the eyes alone, instead of looking at that pesky mouth.
Yeah. I was always just looking right at the cock.
Yeah, lay right at the cack. Children also rely on other cues such as parody, gesture, and context to figure out what new words mean and what other people are thinking. Sometimes these cues are subtle. A classroom full of people wearing masks is a great opportunity for children to practice paying attention to other cues, such as a tone of voice or the teacher's body language.
Yeah, you know how much kids love paying attention.
This is insane. They go, why are masks better? Well, because you can't see their face, so you'll pay more attention to the body language. So if you took the masks off, wouldn't that be good that they paid more attention to the mouth?
Yeah.
Wearing a mask can also help the teachers pay attention to their own body language. So it's better for the teachers.
It's better
to
for the
teach
teachers
better.
too. It's better for everybody. There's if I could think of one negative about masks, it's that there isn't one.
There
I
isn't
guess.
one.
It's that there isn't.
The
one.
masks are the negative is the mandates are one day going to go away, and then these kids are not going to be able to learn because there's going to be these kids going into the workforce that they had all these advantages of the math. They're going to be emotional intelligence experts.
Oh yeah, out the ass. EQ out the ass.
They're going to have fucking
compliant,
EQ to spare.
compliant.
Recognizing body language everywhere you look.
That'd actually be a good feature. Like if you're on your resume, like when you're trying to get a job, you'd be like, successfully wore a mask from age 8 to 18 with 0 infractions. You go, wow, that's a worker right there.
That's a compliant man. Younger children must inhibit the urge to pull off their mask, and older children must be mindful of when their mask is slipping down or okay to take off. So
I'm just
that's
thinking
a
I'd
benefit that
be
you're-
such
you
a
have to
piece
be
of shit.
mindful of when your mask is
Because you know
slipping on.
the school I went to, like the elementary school I went to, was like Jewish school, and we had to wear like yarmulkes or whatever.
Yeah, it's the exact same shit.
But no, but honestly, I'm like, I would like, because we were such shit disturbers, and we would totally be like, I would have one on my head and one on, and like, what? This isn't fine. Like, I would just know I would have been a nightmare during masks.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you didn't say where I had to wear the mask.
Yeah, you didn't say where I had to wear the mask.
Well, this is their last one, is they legitimately say that the kid learns self-control and self-regulation because they have the urge to pull off the mask and they don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Then why not put a bunch of other annoying things on top of them?
Yeah.
Like, why not just put like
What about one of those drinking birds that just goes on the top of your head and just bops you every 4 seconds?
put a sticker on their forehead and they will learn all the self-control of not removing that annoying sticker.
Yeah. Maybe some sort of like low voltage shock collar.
And then they'll learn.
And they just they're just getting just a little shock, you know, like a dog, and then they'll just, but they'll learn to enjoy
Burqa,
it.
if Burqa people must be brilliant with all the benefits that they get.
Oh,
They have so much benefits of self-control.
so much self-control.
Oh my God, they're probably the most self-controlled people.
If you take off the burqa, underneath it's just like it's just a body made of masks.
Perhaps the most important. Perhaps the most important is wearing a mask during the pandemic is an opportunity for even young children to practice their caring for a community. So by preschool, children understand invisible germs can cause illness and behaviors such as hand washing can keep germs. Well, all that I know when I went to school is the kid whose mom was a germaphobe and turned him one super
Tough
well
time.
developed. That guy always crushes it in life. He's always popular. He's always great social skills.
Oh, social skills. Usually the social skills are where they excel.
Luckily, this germaphobe that you're being taught to be like a weird freak, he has the ability that he learned all of his social skills from having to look at the eyes.
You look at the eyes. You
So
look at
he's-
plus, if everybody's a germaphobe, then nobody's really a germaphobe. You kind of get to
That's
mask
the
your
case.
crazies.
For other children, wearing a mask is a way to teach more sophisticated ethical concepts like duty and sacrifice.
Oh yeah.
So patriots. So at this point, they're like, so you're going to be smarter from looking at the eyes. You're going to learn about duty and sacrifice. You get to be a germaphobe, which is positive for them.
That's good. Less illness.
You learn that invisible germs can cause illness.
The funny thing is because you're like, we're talking about what, like an 8-year-old here. It's like, imagine you talk to an 8-year-old about any of this, and they're like,
What the fuck are
just
you
like,
talking
what?
about? Well, this is my favorite one of all. Stressing the discomfort and inconvenience of mask wearing are forms of generosity and public service that might, they're always like, because a lot of the premise of this article is like, it might, we can't know for sure, but probably it's better.
It's probably better. It must be better.
It's probably better.
It's better.
It must be better.
It must be.
It has to be better.
It's better.
It's better. They said, generosity and public service might motivate children to address other social problems in their lives, like bullying. So,
Oh yeah. Best way to deal with your bully is with a mask on.
yeah. No, their argument that
They can't see the fear on your face with that mask
yeah,
on.
that's
so
true.
Good.
That they've had the audacity to purport is because you're wearing a mask, you know that you're doing a mask to help the social, to address the social problems of the world.
Yeah.
Because you know you're better than people for doing this.
like-
And then you go, well, I'm at it. I should help other social problems. For example, that guy's getting bullied. Let me intervene and fight the bully.
Fight the bullies.
And I never would have done that if I wasn't wearing this mask.
Seems kind of like anti-racism for kids. It is, I'm an anti-racist. I wear this mask.
Are the New York Times even a paper right now?
I think so. I think they are a going concern, as one might. I think they're actually crushing it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if they're crushing it as well as under Trump, but I think they're doing pretty good. I think they're making money.
Well, masks stop bullying from kids at school. They turn you into a germaphobe, which always desirable.
Yes.
They make you have they make you understand sophisticated concepts like duty and ethics. Also, that thing is like, so I guess New York Times, I guess you're pretty into the idea of standing up for the national anthem and saluting the flag.
Big flag people.
Not New York Times, since you're very into duty and sacrifice as a concept to learn.
Yeah. You know how much
Well,
they love that. Yeah, I don't know.
This is wild, but that has been. And also, I had some questions that I was going to answer, but I think we're going to do that on the Patreon next week. And again, send me questions on the Patreon. We'll answer a bunch of stuff. We'll answer everyone's questions next week. And thank you for subscribing. Appreciate all the fucking dog.
Y'all are
the
the
lads,
best.
the boys.
I posted, by the way, I posted that
fellas.
John Cleese thing
And you posted the John Cleese
in the
talk.
Patreon somewhere.
The fellas.
Yeah.
The dudes.
The boy.
And I might be out of them. The homies.
The Deuterino.
The Deuterinos.
The dude man.
The Deuterinos.
Now we're just doing Rob Schneider.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
But we